Cre-Art. My name is Rija Swan, and for today I shall be your host. And this is my co-host Dylan. Say what's up, homies?
What's up, homies?
You actually said that? I was joking. That's so cringe.
Oh my god, you tricked me. Never mind. By the way, my name is Dylan, and I shall be your co-host today.
Alright. And for this marvelous afternoon, we have an extra special guest. Dylan and his team actually managed to get the founder of Studio Behind 90, a design agency in KL. So tell us, Dylan, how did you manage to get this extra special guest?
Okay, so my teammate turns him a huge favor and uses her own secret passage, managed to find him and get to contact him. And our speakers also very excited to join us in today's talk. So big thanks to my teammates right there and our speakers today.
Wow, that's great. Our founder was raised in Penang, but he is heavily influenced by cross-Eastern European culture. He's currently residing in KL, where he's trying to find the meaning of beauty. Well, personally for me, the meaning of beauty is anything that's cute, like cartoons or chibi anime, anything that's silly and able to put a smile on your face. How about you, Dylan? What's the meaning of beauty for you?
So, my own sense of beauty is minimalism. I love to shoot photography with minimalism style. My own sense of beauty is less is more.
Wow, that's great. What about you, the audience? What is the meaning of beauty for you? Feel free to write your answers down in the comments. We'll be going through them during our next interview. And now, let's invite to our virtual stage, Mr. Lai.
Yes.
Hey.
Hi guys, this is Book of Lai.
Hi.
Hi.
I'll be introducing myself later on the deck also. So, okay. Thanks for inviting me. I'm really happy.
All right. Well, great to have you here.
Yeah. Shall I start?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. Thanks for the great introduction. Yes, it is correct that I've been looking for the definition of beauty because I've been in the business for many years already. Always wondering, why can't people see beauty the same way? I think all of you are design students, right?
Yeah.
Eventually, you face a problem where I thought this is nice, but my lecturer doesn't think that way. Or in the future, it will be your clients, right? Or maybe sometimes when you show something to your mother or parents, they just don't think this is their definition of that nice. So, what is beauty anyway? But before I talk about that, we should talk about myself. Like, who am I? Who am I to talk about all these things, right? If you don't know me, my name is Book of Lai. Everyone call me Lai or Book of Lai. If you call my full name, no one will recognize. I'm a founder and the current owner of Studio Behind 90. We also won some international award and has been exhibited countless times over the seas. I work with me and my team have been working with a lot of international clients solely on illustration only. So that makes me really wonder, like, how come some people say this design is good, some don't think so, right? So what is this beauty thing? How do we define this beauty, sense of beauty? There's a word for that actually. It's called aesthetic. It's a way or like a concept to define beauty. But it is a neutral term, so we don't describe aesthetic as like this one has aesthetic. It doesn't serve any meaning because aesthetic is just a verb. So we can say something like, you have a bad sense of aesthetic, you have good aesthetic, something like that. That would be great. So aesthetic is a great word. So then I have to explore what is aesthetic anyway, right? So my immediate questions for myself is, does everyone have sense of aesthetic? Do we need to be trained to have the sense of aesthetic? Let's just talk to like someone like your grandma or someone who is so ordinary that has nothing to do with art. Will they appreciate beautiful things? So we will actually. The answer is we will, because sometimes when people who's not trained in art, normal people, they will have specific music that they like in your car, right? When they're driving, specific music that they like. It could be the song, or it could be like those light and vintage song. Or sometimes when we saw a beautiful sunset, we will call that beautiful. We will call that as a romantic, right? But no one teaches that. No one said, guys, sunset equals to romantic. No one says that. But remember the first time by the seaside, you're watching at the sunset. What's your feeling? You find it beautiful, find it out of the world. If you have a loved one or you're currently having with someone that you like besides you, you might call this romantic, right? You know, sometimes when we watch Korean drama, we immediately know who is the main character because those are particularly pretty or handsome, right? And those, are look normally. It's not ugly. It's just look surprisingly ordinary. Those are usually the second characters. But do we teach you? Does anyone teach us that? No. You just know right away that, oh, this is pretty guy, that's handsome, this is not ordinary. So, we have aesthetic built into us already. But why? Why do we have a sense of aesthetic in us? What's the purpose of it? I don't think anyone has think about that, right? But the more I research about it or like study about it, scientists say it's a form of self-defense. It's more like something like last time, millions of years ago, when the humans are always hungry, in search for food for every day, the sense of aesthetic helps them. When you see a fruit that's you know it's spoiled, right? And then due to the nature's reward system, animal begins to feel a sense of satisfaction from what they saw. The basic quality of beauty, from the point of the biology, is that it should create a sense of reward, giving you a pleasure and admiring attractive faces like a sunset, blah blah blah. So now we know why we have the sense of aesthetic in us, right? But then there's a word. I think the slide is a bit rushed. Let me skip to this slide for a moment. Okay, I forgot to create one slide. Anyway, let's continue, okay? So in terms of design, right, there's a huge debate whether design should be pretty or design should be functional or it should be useful, right? I think it is in a constant debate. Like, for example, if a design is so pretty and it has no function, does it count as design? Because design is supposed to be useful, supposed to be functional. Okay, so but if you think about natural progression, right? Human progression, we'll find that. Can you see this arrow in my slide? The one that has a hand on it. Yeah. So this is an actual ancient arrow that they found on somewhere. I don't know. They just stick it up. Okay, that's the arrow, and you can see that it is kind of symmetric, right? It is symmetric. But in a world where people cares about all they care is to have babies and to find food, how come they have time to make something symmetrical? If you want something to be functional, we should just create a stick or something, We should just make it sharp and then right away it should be an arrowhead. And for more archaeology findings, you'll find that people has been trying to make their sword. So of course on the left side, this one is very, very old. It's more like the rock era, I forgot the name. Stone Age, yes, correct, thanks. Yeah. Stone Age era, right? So how come they are still creating something quite symmetric? Why can't one side is the sharp end, the other side does not? Because this design is supposed to be functional, correct? But no, it's care of aesthetic. On the other side is a small recent era, but it's also about a few thousand years ago. It's an X. Can you see the X is symmetric as well? There's both sides of it, and then there's some beautiful carving on top of the X. So let's say, guys, this is not like a time like us, where we can finish our work, go home, and just have entertainment. In that time, it's all about war, finding food, get money, and then get food again. It's all about that. We don't have time for entertainment, not much time. So how come in such a critical era, we still take care of aesthetic? So beauty is a natural for people of all periods. The sense of beauty, our search for beauty, is in us anyway. It's in our DNA. So aesthetic is not just it's not just about what we see, but it's us. It's the way for us to judge a thing visually. If you can see, right? If we are robots, right? We don't see things in visual. You know, we don't see you at the front. We just see everything in terms of codes and numbers. How far you are in front of me is about 2.7543 meters, right? Or if you talk about snakes, you actually sense infrared instead of look at us. It sense the infrared. So there's no way to see how they see things. So, but us, the humans, we have to visualize things. When we want to look at how AI works, we use software to visualize how AI works. Then only we can see. When we want to know about statistics, we don't look at numbers. We look at graphs. We look at all these infographics to know what's going on with the world. So visual is our primary sense. That's it. Period. Okay, I'll talk about that in the future. It's getting too long maybe. So, but then why all of us have a different sense of aesthetic? You know, by right we are humans, but when I say this one is nice, you should think it's nice also, right? But of course, like I said, sunset is quite general, right? But some people might find it very romantic. Some might just find it sad, maybe. But it's definitely out of this world. Okay, sunset is definitely out of this world. Here is a very simple experiment. It's very famously used as a thesis that I saw somewhere. So imagine you're in an art gallery right now. Okay, there are 3 red paintings on the wall. 3 red paintings, just like this. So the frames are the same, the red are the same, the space are the same. It's just white wall. Okay. So the first red painting is done by an artist who, when he's trying to visit the royal family in British, the Queen Elizabeth. Okay, when he's waiting in a room, he saw the red sofa from the royal family. Then he feels so inspired, so he used that red to paint this red. Okay. The second red is by another artist. That artist just lost her loved ones. Okay. After he lost her loved ones, he walked to the seaside. He saw the sunset. At the end of the sunset, so the sky turns from blue, yellow, orange to dark red. Just before it just comes down and becomes dark, right? There's this red that he remembers so vividly, and it hurt so much in his heart. Then he painted this painting all red. And the third one, it actually comes from North Korea, because someone who trying to paint a propaganda painting for the regime, and then they just painted red, and then the painting is not finished, so they just ship it out, and then it just landed here, right? So now, do you feel 3 different painting now? Now, after you know the context, you find that, now these are not the same red, although they are, right? But you don't feel the same anymore. They are different reds. So the meaning of the painting is not comes from the artwork itself. It comes from the audience. It depends on how you feel about that painting itself. What does it feel? It comes from you. It doesn't come from the artwork. As in, when I say not from the artwork, I'm not talking about not from the meaning of the artwork, but it's not visually, physically from the artwork. Okay, it actually comes from how you feel about it, what you inspire from it. After you hear the story, how much you feel about it. So a lot of people argue design is not really an art, because it's supposed to make something usable and functional. It is the purpose of the object, right? So aesthetic are supposed to depend on the function. So if you create a website, it should be readable, it should be usable, more important than what style it is made. So some people say great design makes the function so obvious that you cannot imagine an item made from another form, like a wheel. Do we need to be aesthetically nice? but we need it to be functional. That's it, right? So there are a lot of debate on this, especially when it comes to on UI and UX design. As long as it's clear and user friendly, should be good, right? But then so this is the argument that I'm trying to talk about it just now. But what I'm trying to say here is the design or sense of aesthetic is actually deep inside us. We look for it, we seek for it, and we hunger for it. We're hungry for it. So my job is to create illustration, right? My entire team is to create illustration. But illustration are not something new. In fact, it has been used for hundreds of years already. It has been used as a map illustration. It has been used as a map illustration, and it has been used as poster ancient time. And in an old Japanese novel, they have some illustration in it as well. But most likely, this is I don't know how to say in English, but it's just something like it's like the records of history. So they'll draw something up. And on the right side, you can see it's called Pen Cao Kang Mu. It's the oldest Chinese medicine book that explains how our human body forms. So illustration has been used for thousands of years, thousands of years, ever since Egyptian era, right? All the murals on the. So they use illustration to record all the history, all the the kings, what the kings do, the story of the god, and if preserved well, they can stand for thousands of years. Illustration is something. It's like telling words through a visual. It's like talking with lights. You can see it that way. Okay, so to me, illustration, it has to be functional as well. Stylish, which is aesthetically looks good, and a big environment. I'll talk about big environment in a bit. Okay, so my recipe for a great piece of illustration, they are always has to be functional. So illustration is supposed to be useful. Okay, if not, we are creating art. Right now we are in a design industry, right? So everything that we do should be functional. Illustration that we do is supposed to tell story, supposed to tell certain information so people can understand it and use it for their to boost sales, to boost brand awareness, anything, right? That's the function that I'm talking about. And no matter how functional it is, I have to push for good aesthetic. It has to be stylish, it has to be beautiful, it has to be pretty, the color has to be vibrant. I cannot tahan unfinished work or that thing, right? And lastly, it has to fit in the big environment. So what is a big environment? Because sometimes people might not understand our sense of beauty, right? Our sense of beauty is so different. It's so different. Let me show you. So imagine the picture above is actually from Melbourne, actual image from Melbourne, but the picture below is actually like a mock-up that done digitally. So very likely, if this street in Malaysia, it will become like this, right? If this scenery in Malaysia, it will be like this. Fair enough.
True.
It's the same. So, and this as well. If this is Paris is in Asia, it will definitely become like this. So, where is our sense of aesthetic? How come? They are the same thing. They are the same thing. So, we have to we have to increase our public sense of aesthetic. Okay, public aesthetic. I don't know what's it called. I just call it my own term because there's no word for it. That's the big environment. The point of all of our artwork is to make sure all these things should never happen anymore in Malaysia. Not Malaysia, hopefully Asia. Okay. Then, what should we do? First thing, we observe public installation of billboard or signage, like how I showed you just now. it's the best indicator on our sense of aesthetic. Definitely. Okay. When I go travel last time, these are pictures taken by me. So I always observe and I'll take picture and record. Look at how their sense of aesthetic has gone. So on the right side, on the left side is from China. The middle one I think is Singapore. It's either Singapore or Thailand. Then on the left side is also, on the further right is also China. So these are all from different countries. And you can see like, if they can accept this kind of stuff on their public things, why can't we create more of that, right? But if you go to, places like this, then what would they want when they want a rental signage? How would they want it to be designed? Chin-chai, right? Because it doesn't matter. But it's our job to make something that looks good. And also, I also like to observe what kind of illustration, what kind of creativity they can accept into something like this, right? I think as a design student, you should kind of understand it's about comfort, right? It's as comfortable as the animal there. But in actual real world here, if you propose something to client, they will say like, yeah, this one very irritating. How come we put an animal in public places? Are you saying all of my customers are animal? Or even worse, maybe something like it's not Sharia compliant for all of our Muslim friends out there. So a lot of different drama and stuff like right, but it actually makes our ad less creative. So these are indication of how not creative we are right now, and I want you to make something better, or at least create something at the same time, and never go back behind. Okay. You guys are still young. I don't know how much people are listening. Hope at least 50 lah. So at least I hope 50 of you will never create something we go behind. Okay, have to be same. It's at least have to be the same, or you make something a little bit better. So I'm not saying when we have less creative work out there, we should create something super creative out of the world. But it doesn't work. When I say big environment, it means that your work have to fit into current landscape as well. If not, you are creating something that no one will enjoy. What we are trying to do here is to slowly move forward. Okay, it's not suddenly a big leap and then no one can accept you. Oh, this world you don't belong here. Blah blah blah. I want one step at a time. So my studio mantra, my studio's life goal is to elevate the public aesthetic one step at a time. Okay, I'm not trying to do it overnight. I've been doing it for 5 years already, but still a long way to go. I think I'll make it my life project. Anything that I put out, it should be good. It should be pretty, and I should, in 10 years time, I don't want to hear client telling me the illustration is too cartoon or something. It's bullshit, guys. If you look at this image, right? If you go to our current client right now, tell them about I want to create illustration for you, they'll say this is too cartoon. It's bullshit because when in China, do they become too childish or something? In Thailand, everyone is too childish or something? No, right?
No.
So this is why our big environment, it doesn't change them yet. If we slowly push a little bit, then the landscape will slowly grow on. The realistic thing about this is, it's going to be hard because I've been doing this for 5 years. How long is 5 years? You don't even study that long in your college right now.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
How long is 5 years? It's about as long as
5 years is like diploma plus degree, 5 years straight.
right. And then it's about as long as your secondary school year, right?
Yes.
And the landscape is not changing by much. It is changed a bit, right? But it's not by much. So it's a life project. So in order to create something new, sometimes we cannot just push through right away. Okay, we cannot just like, I want to propose these are the reference and stuff. We cannot do like that. So what I do was have to be very experimental, be proud of your work, be passionate about your work, not be passionate about it, be passionate about art and creative. Those things are supposed to be your core, and you should always remember why you do this, right? So in your daily life, there shouldn't be any time, if you are a true artist, okay, only if you're a true creative person. If you're not, it's fine, don't worry. But if you are truly a creative person, I think during your free time, you should be creating personal work, experimenting on stuff, instead of watching Netflix or something, right? So when I go travel, when I'm out of my client scope or the conservative brief, I like to go wow. So all of these things, this is what I do. There's a time where I do a daily challenge to draw something in my daily life. Every day I will snap a picture and I will just draw something on it. So the goal is anything, just make illustration on the same thing. So if you can see the photo on the left, someone is sitting on the coffee, right?
Yes.
So when someone proposed this to another client, they actually said, "Yeah, you take a bath in my coffee, take a bath in my drink." That doesn't sound hygiene, right? It doesn't sound hygiene. Then I'm like, okay, now the world is still very conservative right now, right? But slowly people start appreciating that already. Because on the second year I'm doing that, people said, I want something like this. So it's pretty good. Okay, there are changes. So eventually people saw that, and Cadbury just asked me to do similar thing on their product. So all these ideas doesn't come from them, it comes from my daily participants, the daily experimenting work. So I've been creating work for them for 2 years until they end it, I think 2019. So it turns out I've been creating it for 3 posts every month for 2 years already, right? So this is the result on your experimenting, your passion of work. You always wanted to change the landscape, and you have a goal in mind. When you know what you're doing already, always stay curious about the world, curious about what I can do with this, what if I do this, what if I do that. That's a curious mind. It's like a scientist. How does this work? I want to go and find out, right? What else I can do to convey the same message, always be experimental. I know all of you should always go to Behance and create your moonboard, right? But those are the things that people has been done before. When you're doing your personal work and try to be experimental, do something new. Try your best to do something new. If you fail, it's fine. Fail is part of the process. It's something like when you cook your first, let's say, something hard.
Tom yum.
Tom yum. Sometimes it gets too sour, right? And then we just throw it away, and then we do it a second time. Artwork is the same. If you create a series that no one likes, it doesn't matter. Just continue create. And I think when you are the third line, remember why, is for you when you're in the industry for long. When your mindset has been affected by client a lot, you might lose your faith in the landscape. It might seem like no one will care about the artwork. No one will care about creativity, pretty stuff, pretty and functional, blah blah blah. You're trying to change the landscape. No one will care about that. All they want is fast, quick, and I want my logo done tomorrow and cheap. But you always have to think back today, or maybe before you come into this college. Why do you enter your major? Because you like art, because you love it. And today I'm giving you another reason. Because you don't want to elevate Malaysia aesthetic, public aesthetic. So always create something good. Always be experimental. So this is I know most of you might not know me, but if you know me, I've been drawing cars for as long as I can remember. It's been many years already. Always cars and something. Okay, a lot of it. So when there's one time I saw that there is a cafe opening in Sekinchan, right? They just turned this bus into a restaurant, and then they just put it on top. It's literally like this. Okay, that's me actually. The photo. That's me standing in front because I was happy. Inside, it's like this. It's like the image shown. The people can eat inside the bus and stuff. So I was so happy looking at that because it's just like my imagination come true. It's like my pursuit of creative expression finally come true already. I want to have feeling like this floating, the car is floating and stuff. So what I did after I came back was to create this illustration. It's exactly how I feel about the place. It's vibrant, it's happiness to me, and it's floating in a paddy view. It's literally like the previous photo, but I just drew the paddy view more floating. So the full illustration are like this, the full one, okay? It's like floating with balloons and stuff. That's how I feel directly. And the owner liked it so much, he ended up bought the illustration from me, and they used the illustration to create more merchandise. So I think today, if you go there and look for the bottles and pillows, you can see all these things laying around. So I think when you like something and you illustrate something, the illustration, and they use it on their menu and stuff. So to me, I'm pretty happy about it. We have been trying our best to elevate public aesthetic for very long already. On the left hand side, the first image is the first illustration I ever did for a big brand. That's for Perdua. And ever since, we have been doing a lot of it. Remember to always push the creative boundary, but do it one step at a time. Okay? Never stay the same. And when I say one step at a time, I'm saying like, if client cannot accept, at least you should create something that client can accept, but it's not going backwards. Okay? You can always find some maybe clients competitions, and then you say, you see your competition also do like this. If you continue to be conservative, I don't think you get to your young audience like you want it to be. So things like this is always it can do. So here's an example. What do I mean by push the creative boundary a little bit more, right? Let's say client comes to us and said, "Hey Lai, I want to create some stickers, the Instagram stickers. Can you create stickers based on Malaysian culture elements?" So I think recently, these are not done by me. This is from Pantun Pins. You can see the link. You can see the username here. So I think when we talk about Malaysia elements, this might be in your mind, right? The trishaw, a lot of vintage stuff, the calendar, the lunar calendar that we literally don't use anymore because we don't use it. It's our grandparents use it. The bus, people like to think about, remember the bus and stuff. These are vehicles. These are not part of our history. These are not culture. But what is Malaysian culture? It could be. So I want you guys to think outside of all these comforts. A lot of people are doing this. Yes, I understand. But what is other thing? What are the other things? Can it be language? Can it be like these are our unique language that I don't think we can see it anywhere besides Singapore, of course. How about our colors? We have vibrancies of colors that no one have it in their country, for real. Our colors are always. You guys saw your background, right?
Yeah.
The blue and stuff. This is I think it's a current trend. It's a purple, I don't know, cyberpunk trend, right? Like a cyber thing. It's a trend. There's a purple bluish trend or something. In my time, when I'm college, there's another trend as well. There's a polygonic trend where people do a lot of polygon effect. Later maybe we can search for you now. For the low poly, very very common. So like this, right? There's a time a lot of things illustrate like this.
Like triangle.
It's called low poly art style. And then there's one time I think it become a lot of gradient. A lot of gradient. Design, trend. Then we can see all this purple stuff currently, right? This is go 20. Still purple stuff, right? But if you go to 16, where is the polygon thing come out? I think my time is 2012. No one is doing the compilation. Then we can start to see this gradient thing comes in already. So what I'm saying is, in all of my life, right, I've been seeing a lot of trend come and go. Our goal as a designer or a great illustrator, we are trying to create something timeless. If I show you the low poly art again, you'll find it old school, right? But design are not supposed to be like that. Try your best to do it as timeless as possible. What is Malaysia color? Malaysia colors is complementary to each other. We are multi-racial ecosystem, okay? We call it ecosystem. No matter how much we mix our own race, but we still, in a world where we see everything, right? Everywhere we see, it's still very mixed and it's so multicultural, right? You can see that the way we use color in our temples, Indian temples or Chinese temple, the color they use are very vibrant. They are complementing each other. Who will put like red and green together or like purple together? That's what they do. So we can translate that feeling of multicultural stuff in terms of color by having a vibrancy of color like this. We can redefine what is Malaysian color using this. In this case, it's just food. So there are many things. Still got many things. So what we do was, we have our own Malaysian time, right? When we say what time, then we have Malaysian time. When it's time to eat, we have makan time. Or there's a teh tarik petang. Today is a teh tarik day. Look at the color that we use. It's very multicultural, I would say. Like for example, in Indians, the God story, the folklore, the stories of God, you can see they always paint the gods in like pink skin or purple skin. So that's the inspiration from there. And then you can see like the color that we use is always complementing each other instead of being harmony, right? So I think those screams Malaysian. And then when we create all these stickers, there are many things that we can talk about. We can talk about we can rest in our grandpa's seat. We can talk about when it's in the middle of the noon, the weather is hot. We will go to the roadside store and buy a slice of watermelon, right? And then our road sign is unique as well, right? So maybe they can use our road sign to create a sticker. Or when we create a character, think about how Malaysian will react to the character. How would they feel belong when we create character? It shouldn't be like the Western countries. We always refer on behance and we always look up to the Western countries' character design. But locally, no one will feel belong to that. Design students will find good because we will train, we will research everything on behance, but not the rest of Malaysia. Can our character wear a little bit of tudung? Can they have a little bit of facial hair that looks exactly like Malaysian? What kind of clothes we wear? Okay, do we wear like double layered with jacket and stuff? So it turns out we have created about 800 of them for Snapchat. You guys know Snapchat, right?
Yes.
So Snapchat engages us to create stickers for Malaysia, and that's what we do. We created about 800 of them. So I'm not sure why they haven't published all of them. It's their choice because I've given them all the files. 800 is not here, there's actually even more. Look at it, and this is our definition of Malaysia colors. It's vibrant, it's complementary to each other, it screams for attention, but at the same time, when we look at it as a whole, it looks harmony together. It doesn't look out of the place. So that is my definition of Malaysian culture. Be consistent, okay? When you do something, when you try to push the creative boundary, be consistent, okay? It's like a long marathon walk instead of like a short run. If you fight with client too often and then you feel tired, then the next project you wouldn't have the energy anymore. Then that is not consistent. I want you to fight a little bit. If fails, then we just revert to current standard. It's okay. As long as next time we still try again. Have to be consistent. So the experimental is just like us. We trying to create something out of the world that our client will not accept. Poster like this for like their insurance poster or something. I don't think they will accept. Right. So we're trying to tell our studio story through posters. We've been doing it for many years or so. Of course, recently got a bit slow because busyness. But for example, the middle one it's the time the entire studio went to karaoke together. The orange one is when we go London together. The middle one is still London. We went and had coffee. And then what is this one? Cre-Art Share. So we went to Cre-Art Fashion Week together. So we always create a poster out of it as a part of storytelling and also to experiment on different art style. So that's it for the sharing today. I hope you know what's aesthetic, what makes things beautiful, why we have to push beauty because it's in all of us, right? Always. Sorry?
Yeah. It's okay.
And lastly, I want you guys to be consistent. It's like doing a long marathon run. You have to control your pace of breathing. Okay, your goal is to run as long as possible. It's not like I don't want you to run and then tired and then give up design for the rest of your life. So that's it for the sharing. Okay.
Okay.
Alright.
Okay. So I got a few questions lah. So
Yes.
so Mr. Lai, among your design career, who is your biggest inspiration?
But
Like just now you say, there's a boss like inspire you, pursue you to do this illustration, right? Like
there are no specific someone. I would say it comes from everywhere. I would say the inspiration comes from the attitude of being curious in life. Try to find out how things works. I always like to say be a nerd. Maybe some of you watch manga, right? Manga.
Yeah.
I don't watch manga. Okay. But when you watch manga, you have to be a nerd about it. It's not watching the surface and then like done my daily entertainment is done. But why do you like manga? What do you like? Do you like the art? Do you know about the studio who do all this manga? What's the story behind when they write those stories? Those are what I mean by nerd about it. Like I like to draw cars. I literally can close my eye and draw a car for you. And most importantly, I can look at the car and know it's from which era because I've been studying it while I draw it. I'm like, how come this era, right? All the car like so rounded. How come this one so agey? So when I become nerd about it, all these inspirations just come along. It inspire me, the thinking as well. Like I like Hayao Miyazaki, right? Hayao Miyazaki's illustration, the film as well. I study. My love to him makes me want to study how he create all these illustration, the stories, why he picked the story. Hayao Miyazaki is obviously Japan. The studio. Do you guys know Hayao Miyazaki? Studio Ghibli.
Never
Not
heard
really
it.
familiar.
Really?
Not really.
You guys know Studio Ghibli? You guys are ashamed to society. I'm just kidding. Oh my god. It's too old already. But it's not that old. Have you guys heard about?
Now I know.
Okay.
Because I didn't study with who
Do
draw.
you guys know the Moving Castle movie?
Yeah, we know the anime, but we don't know the studio or the
Oh, okay. You know if you should know the Moving Castle, right? Moving Castle.
Yeah.
Totoro. Should lah. They are actually a lot smaller. They are actually a lot small actually. Like the Kiki's delivery service is quite nice as well. If you watch all of them, which I did, you realize how come all of his story happens in Europe, like Eastern Europe. How come? So it actually comes from the Japanese attitude in trying to be as Chang'e as the West, but not to forget who we are. So you can see like they always like to inject Asian philosophy or thinking in all the animation, but using all the technology from Western culture. So when I see all of this, I suddenly think about, that inspires me, because when we create Malaysian stuff, right, I don't have to be just using Malaysian element. I can do combines. So even watching anime, it should inspire you. When you be nerd about it and you think about why and stuff, when you find out all the whys, you'll definitely get inspired no matter how. Okay?
Okay.
All right, it looks like now it's time for the Q&A session for the audience. Is there any questions from the audience? All right, Relics here asks, which project/client that you work with are the most memorable ones?
Is that a real question, or you guys?
It's a real question.
Yeah, the audience.
Yeah, from the audience. Her name is Alex.
I think the most memorable one would be the Snapchat one that I told you, because they are from US and they just came out of the blue, which surprised us all. At the first, we just create, I think, 100 for test run only, and it turns out they need 800, and it amazed me to create 800 of them. So at the end of the day, at first we also create something quite basic, like the Selamat Petang or something. And it turns out the more we create, we have to study Malaysian culture more. That's why we deep dive into what Malaysia is about, what makes Malaysia unique, colors, culture, the attitude of each racial and stuff. Malaysian always very chin-chai. When they go to foreign country, they quite chin-chai, they can eat their food. But when Angmoh come to Asia, they cannot eat rice, right?
Yes.
So this is us, actually. We are highly adaptable. So, if we were to create another artwork about Malaysia, we can use highly adaptability as the theme to create it. So I think Snapchat would be one of our biggest experiences.
Okay. So the second question is asked by Janie. Why name Book of Lai? What is the meaning of it? The story.
How come the question so quick and organized?
Okay, because it's like this.
You can actually open your side message and have a look at the questions that are popping up slowly.
Yeah.
How come I finished already? Suddenly, one people ask.
Okay, because we got a lot of audience like that, and then they got ask a lot of questions, then we will paste it here lah. Then
you paste it here, is it?
Yeah, copy and paste here.
Oh, okay. I thought, how come it's so organized?
Yeah.
Okay. Anyway, Book of Lai. When I need a stage name last time. Okay. Actually, I don't need a stage name. When I'm not famous. When no one cares about me, I'm not saying I'm famous. Okay. When no one cares about who I am, I'm just a student. I'm trying to create a Facebook album and upload my work up there, and I'm trying to name the album. So I just asked around and said, what should I name it? Can I name it like Notebook or something? Very bad, all the bad names, And then some of them just quote book. There's a movie called Book of Lai or Book of Lai or something. I'm like, I could call it Book of Lai because to me, the illustration journey is like a chapter to chapter. One phase is a phase. It's never an ending. The book is a never ending book, and every ending is just a flip of a page. And after that page is a new chapter or a new page. We are off to write another one. I kind of like, so it's like Book of Life, right? So I like the name and I just name it. And turns out, the more I post artwork on the album, or after that I just put it on Instagram. When people saw me, they call me Book of Lai for real. Like, hey, Book of Lai, how are you? I love your work. I'm like, now people call me Book of Lai. When I call myself Lai Theng Seng, no one will know. So that is forever as a Book of Lai.
Okay. So, Regina, go.
All right. Next question is from Jia Xiang. Do you think the designer/illustrator should find or have a specific style?
I think you shouldn't find a style. To be honest, you should focus on creating more good work, the work that resonates with your heart. When I'm young like you, I always like to find my own style. I do have my style eventually by the people untrained eye. They always call my style, got texture on it, red nose, when I saw red nose, I think about you, blah, blah, blah. Those are quite basic, actually. Style could be a lot of things. Then eventually, right, I become quite unhappy because all I can do is to draw that style. If I draw other things, I'm afraid people saying it's not my work. So it turns out the more I do, I'm drawing for other people, for the sake of other people. It's never been drawing for my self-expression. So after a while, I try to focus more on my self-expression. It turns out my style, the consistency of style that I have, is to draw that car. And it's not even the car. It's not even one car. It's a lot of cars, right? So the only consistency in my style is the theme. I'm drawing freedoms. I'm drawing my desire to achieve ultimate freedom where I can go anywhere without losing home. Home is wherever I go. So that's the kind of things that I have been drawing, and that could be my signature style. Style is not a stroke. You know, when I'm in college, I have been in college before, right? Our lecturers always said, you see, this one got outline, this one no outline. Your style not consistent. Or you see, this one color, the color like this, got gradient, no gradient. It's not style, not consistent. Those are bullshit because when we are in industry, when we have been seeing great work enough from other world, every part of the world, China, Korea, Europe, blah, 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 the style, they can mix one, okay? As long as when you look at it at a glance, it looks together. Like I said, like when you see a sunset, it's nice, that is nice. Then it is a style already. It is a great artwork already. I will never fixate into, look at this outline. The eye, you forget to put outline. Your style not consistent. I will never do that anymore. The style that you should be looking for is who are you and why do you want to paint? What kind of style that you always want to create on? You cannot control. Like every time you open your paper, you will just paint that thing. So what are those? Those are things that you should be exploring.
Okay. So, a question asked by Fu. I saw that you are currently involving in NFTs. Why is that? What is your opinion on NFTs shaping the world of physical assets? This one is the last question.
Oh, Fu. Thanks for noticing my NFT thing. NFT is great. I think when I'm young, right? Every time I draw something, because I'm a digital person, I've never been a manual person. Only until recently, I started printing out the work. Every time I draw something, I will publish it on Instagram, right? Show everyone, people will like it, blah, blah, blah. But publishing on Instagram, it has been so weird and forgetful. No one will remember the work that I spent hours, days, or weeks to illustrate years ago because it has been thrown down. If I repeat the post, it feels repetitive, right? It feels like, Lai's getting lazy, don't have new work already. So posting on Instagram has never had the feeling of publishing to me. But ever since I mint my work on NFT, the sense of publishing suddenly appeared. So it seems like that is the perfect way for me to publish the work and look, it's there, it's up already, it's there forever. No one can forget it or something. So right now, I started to make peace with my method of publishing. So I will take Instagram as a form of sharing. I will never publish my work there already. Whatever I publish there is considered as sharing. I'm sharing my work that I just minted on the platform. It's something like fine art, I have an artwork, it's on my wall, right? I'm like, hi guys, check out my work. Today is a Monday. My work is something that's sharing on Instagram. I will never publish it on Instagram itself. The work is published on the gallery. So NFT fulfills my publishing desire. So I like it. I really like the way NFT is doing. It makes digital art have value. I'm not talking about money value. I'm talking about it can be owned. It's not just a bunch of JPEGs you send on your WhatsApp. people just take your WhatsApp and then just send it, good morning, goodbye, happy Chinese New Year, blah blah blah. It's not just that. It can be used as a gift, and people can save it and have the sense of ownership. So you see, just such a simple thing, and people can feel the sense of ownership already. So that amazed me, and I also think like NFT is the NFT with cryptocurrency it will help artists as well when we try to achieve financial freedom. It's not about getting how to say a lot of money or make a lot of money. It's about getting yourself out in the world, because NFT community is not local, it's globally. People will collect your work globally. I'm not talking about earning millions, because you have to be really, really famous to have to do that. But few hundred, few thousand shouldn't be a problem, right? And your audience is the world. The audience is no longer local. So that also excites me.
Oh, okay. Okay, I think, okay, so we ran out of time. So the time gone so fast. But still thanks. This is a very great sharing by Mr. Lai. So looks like once again we have come to the end of our interview. But still a very big thanks to Mr. Lai and to your audience. We will see you guys in the next talk. And now is Mr. Lai, you got any feedback for us?
And you end already?
I think it's ready, right?
Yes.
Yeah, but we're not at 2:00 and we still got 3 minutes. So is it still live streaming or?
Yes.
It's still live streaming.
Yes.
Oh, okay.
But that one is a.
This one is your teacher.
Yeah. My teacher. My teacher is. I think he's inside the stream lah.
Hi guys. Hi teacher. They are doing quite good Please give them high marks. Anyway, if you guys have any questions, just reach out to me on social media. I will reply on my stories, I guess, because I'm quite busy now. I need to go also. So happy to be able to talk to you guys regarding this aesthetic. Hopefully, after all of you graduate, you remember what I told you today. It could be 5 years from now, I just want you to keep your fire and keep helping the Malaysians at public aesthetic. Okay.
All right.
Okay.
Thank you for actually sharing with us such a valuable information.
No worries.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Book of Lai.
So that's it. That's it, right?
I think that's it. Yeah.
Okay. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.